Welcome to the Big Picture, where we help you see,
think,
and act big. Hi guys, how are you?
Yes, I'm doing good, and we have a very interesting guest today.
Yeah.
Fellow podcaster in Cebu.
Yes.
And
first ever that we've guested a podcaster.
Yeah. And
No, second podcaster. Oh no, yeah, first. Sorry.
All right, so
I thought Jake was.
Carlo here is the man behind Zerothreetwo, and if you're about the same age as me, and of course the newer generations should know this company. It's a blog now, has their own merchandise, and of course a new podcast just recently. And I've met Carlo way back in PSI, one of the seminars actually, and we met recently last year in the surf camp that I attended. So this guy is very active in the what do you call this? He's into biking, surfing.
Oh
so
no, well,
everywhere.
I don't know if you can call into surfing if you surf once a year, right? So yeah, but that was a good trip. That was really fun. It was a really good trip.
All right, so before we get into the interview, we'll just we have
we always ask them, to comment on the page on our YouTube channel, in the Apple Podcast, in iTunes, in wherever you find us, in Spotify. And we've got. I'd like to read one of the comments that was sent to our inbox, and we really love it. It's from Vince Anunciado. He said, "Hey, I'm a new listener to your podcast on Spotify. I'm very happy I found your channel. I listened to one topic and I subscribed right away, just like me." I was also now FW seafarer who's having the same thought of giving up my life abroad to put up a business here in the Philippines. Best decision of my life. Thank you, the Big Picture. I thought I made a wrong, reckless decision, but you lightened up my mind and boosted my confidence. I'm running my business for 2 months now, and I love what I'm doing. I get to spend my time with my family and enjoy my life. I'll keep tuning in. More power to your channel. Thank you, Vince.
All right, thank you, Vince.
And for you guys, just keep it coming. We'll read your comments. Don't worry on the show.
Yeah, and we'll also fit the shows for your needs.
Awesome.
So yeah, so it's a good way to start that and to transition.
Yeah, it's a good way to start the day.
Because Zerothreetwo has been around for 7 years, I would say.
Yeah, I think so.
More or less.
Yeah.
So can you tell us more about Zerothreetwo, how it started and how it is, or what it is now?
Yeah, so when Zerothreetwo started, it was just with a bunch of friends of mine. We were in a band together. No? And then
Rescue the Hero?
Rescue a Hero. Rescue the Hero is like a metal band. we sound a lot tamer than them. But yeah, we were I remember we were in jamminganan, like we were practicing for jamming. Like right before you just sit down and you just talk. And then just talking nonsense, and then like, they wanted that movie, The Social Network, just came out, and then my friend Jason sat down, the Facebook, we should make a website. Like really, obviously we're no Facebook, but like, but he wanted to make a website, and one of our bassists happened to be a web developer. Well, he worked in web anyway, so he knew how to do it. So a few months later, we launched the website, Zerothreetwo.com. So that's 032 in letters. And at first, it was just a Cebu site. And then, we covered events, wrote about restaurants. One of our first articles was going to Osmeña Peak, one of those kind of tops, those types of things.
Blogging type.
Yeah. Like the blogging. And then, but, fast forward a couple of years, it became clear that, number one, it became clear to me that I didn't find that very interesting personally. Like, there's so many other people who are much better at it than we are. And they do it really well also. And, they really enjoy it, that sort of thing. And then if you can't find, at least for me, if I couldn't find the enjoyment in it, why do it, diba? So we started covering different things, and then I noticed that I personally have an interest in creativity, also in business, entrepreneurship, that sort of thing. So fast forward to now, that's how we started. That's how I decided to start a podcast. It's 032 Conversations. So I get to talk to interesting people like you guys, no, and record it. And so that's how. I mean, I skipped a lot, no, but basically in terms of content, that's what's changed very recently.
Right. So, but prior to the podcast, you've continuously you've done something else like vlogs or some or
No, we
other
didn't do
content.
any vlogs. I think I mentioned this off air. No? I don't like video. No? Yeah. Like I get kind of conscious with video. I just don't think I have the personality for it. Right? Some other people do great on that. Like one of my favorite people is Casey Neistat, for example. He's so much fun to watch. And
We just simply don't care, I guess.
Yeah, we don't.
yeah, no, it's great. No, what I'm saying is it goes back to your skill set in a way, ba. So like, what are you good at? And I just don't think I have that skill set in me, so I just don't bother. No, but we used to just have regular blogs, like we would write. I think, wow, when in our peak, we probably wrote 3 articles a week or something. Yeah, and then I would get maybe over
When you
100.
say we, you do personal write it or your partners?
No, so we over the years we probably had about 100 plus contributors to 032.com through various ways. My wife has written, my friends have written. I used to get like interns. They would write also, and then so many people have written for the site over the years. And then I don't know if any of you guys write.
Not that much. I hire a writer as well.
Yeah, it's a grind.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
super tiring. Yeah, so it's a grind, and then at some point it made me think like, so what is it that I want to focus on? Because like I said, if we're not as good as other people writing about like the events or the restaurants, what can we do in that space? So that's why we ended up with a podcast.
Yeah, so I'm curious. So for the past, since the podcast just started this year, I believe, or last year.
February this year.
All right. So for the past 6 years, you were doing blogging mainly.
Mainly blogging, yeah.
Yeah. So can you tell us about maybe a lot of our listeners here are curious about how blogging works. So you've mentioned you've got interns.
Or does it still work? I mean,
we will have to know from him.
What do you mean? Does it still work?
No. The point is how does the money making works with blogging, especially blogging here in the Philippines.
Okay. So initially when we started 032, so of course our first instinct was, oh wow, we're getting so much attention. You could see it, like you get the traffic, you get the views, and then we're thinking, so how do you monetize this? Like,
Right.
how do we make this worth our while? Because it became clear very quickly that it's a grind. It's tiring. So the first thing we looked at obviously was advertising. That's what everybody looks at first. Now, unfortunately, this was also in 2011. That was also the time where hardly any companies were on Facebook. There was no such thing as a sponsored post. It's a stretch to get a company to pay for a banner ad at the time. Even now, banner ads, no one's going to pay for that. Sponsored posts, they'll pay for that right now. But back then, well, again, so it became clear very quickly that advertising wasn't going to be the way for us. And then I remember we had an article come out. It was an interview. Somebody wrote into the site, said, hey, I can be right for you. I can submit an article. And then I just said, yeah, like people do that all the time. And then I was like, sure, what's it going to be about? Because, we have an editorial process and everything. So what's it about? He told me, oh, there's this guy, Nick Automatic. I want to write about him. I haven't heard of him. I hadn't heard of him at the time. I was like, who's this guy? So I just did a quick Google search. I was like, okay, owns a clothing line. Oh, sige, yeah, sige, just write about it. He wrote about it. I published it online. And then at the time, our traffic spiked. So obviously there was some sort of, there was this interest in this guy, Nick Automatic. Like, he doesn't know me, but, he's very influential to a lot of like, lifestyle brand owners in Cebu. So anyway, because at the time there was this boom in clothing. Must have been 2012, 2013, 14 there. And he was the guy in the top of the heap, right? So we were thinking, oh, maybe we should sell something. How do you monetize all this attention? So we just made a t-shirt. Our first t-shirt was like a regular shirt that just said 032. And then, people will buy it. And then we just kept rolling the money because we did not put any money whatsoever in 032.
It's more of a test for you, or you don't really care. It was more of a test, a market test, or
for the shirts.
Yeah. Or it's like it's good if someone will buy.
No, we put it out there. Like, we just wanted to see what would happen because we were able to. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. We were able to scrounge up some money because we didn't put any money at all. We put in a little bit just to like, put up a DTI and all the government stuff, and but just that. But we were able to get some money doing a consultancy thing for I forgot about this, but
like branding related.
No, like social media related.
Social media.
We I don't think I should name them because I don't think they want to be named, but I remember my friend Jason had a connection to a company, and then he pitched them the idea nga, you guys should be on social media. So I remember we had like a very short consultancy thing, like a set fee. Like, I'll be honest, we had no idea what we were doing. We didn't even know that how to charge or anything. But we had a set fee. We gave a set fee to this company. They said, okay, sure. They gave us that fee, which became our seed money for 032. And then we just gave them like a very short consultancy. We trained some of their staff on social media. Can you believe it? And
what year is this?
It must have been when we started, 2011. Yeah, because like I said, back then, there was nothing. No companies were online. No. And then we just used that money and we printed some shirts. Of course, we talked to a bunch of people before printing shirts. Shout out to Doyle C and McCoy Rosales. They really helped us out. Just to figure out how it's done. And so that was our first way to monetize that attention.
So right now, I'm curious. So 032 as a brand or as a company, can you share to us the breakdown of where actually is the money comes in? How it's sustaining everyone of it or for you.
So I don't know the exact timelines anymore, but so we were doing the clothing thing. That's a super slow climb. At the same time, we were still looking at the possibilities of advertising. So I remember early on, we would do like a sponsored contest, that sort of thing. You tweet, retweet this, and follow this brand and 032, and then and then you get a chance to win whatever. And then we would charge companies for that. It was a set fee, and then for a while we were able to get a good chunk of cash doing that. So that there's some advertising component, and then occasionally now we'll get like a sponsored post. Somebody will ask us if they want a sponsored post. We do still get some money from Google AdSense. It's super. Yeah, but super small. Forget it. It's not even worth it. No, but so I've mentioned two sources of revenue already. It's the clothing. So the clothing over the years has gone up and gone up and gone up. So I should mention that, like I said, I don't know the timelines anymore. But at some point we got a new partner. His name is Jake Maningo. and then his family owns Kulas. Kulas is a
like
they're like a big shirt printing company.
yes.
So they handle all of our clothing, well, shirt orders. And Jake is, in fact, he's the one who he comes up with the designs. I'm not a designer. I don't know how to do that. So he comes up with all of the designs, makes sure that, that the clothes are nice, like they fit well. Like we had so he's the one doing all that. And then I'm the one who markets it, puts it in stores, tries to sell it and everything. So that's a form of revenue. So the clothing, and then far third is advertising, right? It's just nice when it's there. And then our main source of revenue is client work. Going back to like that consultancy thing. So, sige. One of the things I learned from that consultancy experience is, we did like a one-time payment thing. And then someone, are we supposed to look for clients all the time and no one for one-time payment? It's ridiculous. So I had to figure out what's a way that we can do it and it's recurring. Like, it doesn't have to be a big amount, but like it's every month there's something there. Now, of course, you're doing a service. So our service that we do for companies is we make sure that they have social media postings on their social media accounts.
Content. You produce the content?
Produce content. So
then you're the one posting it.
We're the ones who post it. We write content. We do the copywriting. We do the photography.
So you're like a social media... Yeah, social media managing company, something like that.
Yes.
Catering to local clients. Or you
I mean, we'll cater to anybody who pays us, I'll be honest with you. But they just happen to be mostly local clients. I don't know. I'm from that generation where I was having this conversation a few days ago with a friend, and then he said, yeah, these younger kids now, they have all this like freelance work that they get from like Upwork or something. Yeah, and then I've never done that because or Fiverr. I don't know how that works. No? So I'm sure like we could if we wanted to. But I've heard also these other things like, the pricing is really difficult, that sort of thing. But yeah, it just so happens to be they're all local clients.
Good. That's good. Because basically what we're trying to point out here in the big picture is that everyone, there's an abundance of opportunities here in Cebu mainly. And as I'm listening to your talk about this, the Zerothreetwo brand, I see that it's like, it started as something fun, turns out to be it's a grind, it's a lot of work. Then you pivot, yeah. So from different aspects where it works. So and figure as the problem arise, or figure as when there's an opportunity arise, and that's actually a very common theme with entrepreneurs who the initial business model now shifted to totally different. But you do still blogging, right? Once in a while.
Yeah, we do the blogging. So I'll post something every now and then, like the most recent. But see, the podcasts are also posted on the website.
Oh yeah,
so they look like
the content. Right?
Yeah, they look like blog posts actually, and then but the other real blog posts, so now I get to do the fun stuff when it's blogging. Like, so for example, a few friends of mine, last month we went to Foresa trails, and we just went mountain biking. And then I realized not too many people know about this. Like, I wasn't planning on writing about it or anything. I didn't even take any pictures. Fortunately, one of our friends had a video camera and he was taking video, and then we took a selfie. But then I was like, oh yeah, I think more people should know about this. So I blogged about it, and it was fun. Like, it's something that I want to blog about. Like when we went to Lanusa. I wrote about Lanusa twice. Because I just really, really enjoyed the experience. So now it becomes something that matches what I want to do, at this point. And because I still think it's important to do it, because you might be thinking, so we're doing client work, it's totally different from the blogging, etc. But it's still the same in a sense. We use the attention that we got from Zerothreetwo to get these clients. Some of these clients I've known since like I was in high school or something. Like we just grew up together. But he didn't get my services because he knew who I was. He got it because he saw.
So you position yourself basically. The brand is already there.
Yeah, so like they can see him or okay, we're not just some
some guy that they organized yesterday, right?
Yes,
and then doing a service now. So you basically, what you're saying is since 2011 you built your brand. You've been consistent, putting yourself out there, right, as a brand. And then because when I look at your Instagram, when Dave sent me, I check you out on Instagram. It looked to me. I think there's a lot of like clothing.
Yeah, we use. I think of social media as the different parts of social media as really just as a, what is the word there? Like an avenue, like to just get your word across. This is not, our Instagram is not who we are. Our Facebook is not who we are. These are just like different avenues to get people to connect with us in some way.
Okay, so essentially, like Gary Vaynerchuk said something that you need to be a practitioner. If you're running a social media management company, you need to be a practitioner. You need to drink your own Kool-Aid.
Yes.
And I think that's what you're doing now, right? Because you're building your brand, and then you're using different social media. And am I correct?
Yes, you're 100% correct. 100% correct. Yes, what Gary Vaynerchuk says is correct.
No. What I'm saying is like, is that the overall strategy for you?
Yes. That is. I mean, of course, like I said, the reason why we even know. Okay, so when we started it, like I mentioned, we didn't know anything. No. Right. In fact, I was late on Instagram because I didn't have an iPhone. I have an Android phone, and I don't know if you guys can remember. Instagram came out very late on Android, like super late. It came out super late. Like my wife had at that time, she was my girlfriend. Like she had Instagram. She was like taking pictures.
I was elementary, so.
Oh yeah, move on. No, but like I'm into photography. I like photography, so I was really waiting for Instagram to come out. No, and I really like photography. But we didn't. The same thing with Facebook. Like we made so many mistakes early on with Facebook and Twitter, and you're just learning how it works and how people interact with these platforms. No, and so it doesn't stop. The learning doesn't stop. So in order for you to learn, you have to really do it. In order for you to like. That's why I push back a little bit. Sometimes, you'll hear people, they'll offer a service and then you look and then you're like, what are they doing? Like how do we know they can do this work? Diba? Right. So yeah, you're 100% correct. We are practitioners in that sense.
Yeah, I do have an interesting question. Like, since you've been there for about 8 years now, and how do you stay relevant? Like, I think that's quite a long stretch. If you think about it, there's like Facebook came to life, then there's Twitter, then there's Instagram, and now there's podcasting. How do you stay relevant to your audience?
I honestly don't think about that at all. No, I don't expect everybody to know what 032 is. We're just in our lane. We're just doing what we want to do. No? Like I mentioned, there are outfits in Cebu. Their whole purpose is to stay relevant, right? Now,
most of the
I guess that sounds so exhausting. You understand what I'm saying? Like at some point, okay, let's say you're an influencer, you're a pretty face on Instagram, whatever it is, right? Yeah. No, but let's say, okay. At some point you grow old. At some point that disappears. And so that will disappear, and at some point you just won't be relevant, and then it's exhausting. So I don't think about being relevant. I think about at least for example for the podcast. For me, number one, is it something that I enjoy? And then number two, does it feel like it's making an impact? And then one of the things that I think about with the podcast is that I didn't realize this at first when we made it, but it just so happens that a lot of my questions go to like their history about these people's history, and then I realized that it's a great place for the history of the people or the culture of the people in Cebu to be recorded, just to be, so that it's not forgotten. Like, I don't know, you know this, like, and I like you'll have a uncle or whatever, or they'll talk about like the early 90s or in the 80s, like a lot of these older folks will talk about like local ground, right? And then I'm still not sure what that is, no? And then we also have those stories, like at least for me, like when in the early 2000s when, or like let's say in music, like I tend to veer towards music, no, because that's you too. Like let's say urban dub, for example, like they have a story. Like how did they get started? They didn't just become, right away, right? And then I'm sure like the kids in this generation, they'll also have a story of what it was like to be a kid in music in 2018 or a kid in graphic design in 2018. So I feel like kita as Cebuanos, we do a bad job of recording, like not just recording it in audio or anything, but like really putting it down in history. Yeah. No? If you notice, diba? Like it's
documenting.
Yeah, exactly. Like we don't have our history is kind of it just dissolves at some point. So hopefully this is a way for me, at least based on the people who I talk to keep that there. So at least there's like a higher purpose in a sense. No?
Right.
It's funny, right? Because we actually have another business venture outside of the big picture.
Yeah.
His focus is on that as well, like, but unwritten. So yeah, excited about that.
Oh, I'd like to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just a high level. What we're looking at is because like a lot of these histories, for example, for families gets lost. Like the history of like a grandfather, it's you can really see like the way they're not just their journey, but basically building the family and even the family name gets lost. And what happens is that the children's children or the children of the grandchildren will not have a chance. They will only hear about their grandfather and how they build this great thing, but they will never see like what we would like to do with one project that we have is like if we can record that, and it doesn't have to be publicized. It can be like for personal consumption. It doesn't have to, but that has to be recorded, and that has to be that the history has to be recorded because it's worth recording.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then now that's the nice thing now, because before, if you wanted to do something like that, you'd have to you need to like, I don't know, print a book or or something. Now it's it's the internet. You take a picture, you put it. You just need somebody to put it all together and edit it and organize it in such a way where it's so easy to. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I mean, I was just thinking about my own family when as you were talking, no. Yeah, no, but so same. So like the podcast for me is one way to keep those stories alive.
It's the same for us when like in normally when we talk to our guests, we talk about when they were young. What are the things that drives them? What were the things that like made them like who they are now? Like for example, what drives you? Why like for example when and this is a question to you now. You always mention about the things you enjoy rather than like your personal goals about your business. And that's usually I can see like the contrast with some of the people that we have here, right?
From our previous guests.
Our previous guests.
We were like hustling and
a lot of people are like hustling, and then but you're kind of taking the laid back side and saying, you know what, I just want to enjoy. We're running a business, but I want to do things. Why is that?
Actually, we had one guest who was
from
A-Frame. I interviewed Carlo Villarica.
Is
So,
this
yeah.
surfers?
I think it's a surfer's curse or something.
Well, here's the like with now. I don't know. For me, Mugad, like let's see. Let's go back to Gary Vaynerchuk. Like, look at that. That dude works like what 22 hours a day or something. Like, yeah. So there are certain people who are very capable of doing that, and then there are certain people who they need perspective. There will be people who will try to work 22 hours a day, but they should not be doing that.
And they will hate it, and they will die.
Yeah, exactly. Diba? And so let's do a thing that Gary Vaynerchuk preaches, self-awareness. So it's about knowing who you are and what you want to do, right? And so I know with me, I know that I know based on my experience that I can grind, and I still am grinding really hard. But I also know that there is a time for balance also, and then also I think my little secret is I'm able to do all this work is because I truly do enjoy it, diba? So I mean, like, I think, yeah, you mentioned, you could see that in the way that I talk about what I like, what I do. I mentioned the parts that I enjoy. No, the truth is, I really do enjoy the way we do business and the way we make money. No,
Very relaxed.
yeah. Well, it's not. No, it's not that it's relaxed. It's just it's creative work. And then it's creative work, and I've designed it in such a way where I'm not gonna get stressed out if something happens. Like like si Tim Ferriss likes to talk about like okay, like that 80-20 analysis. So like who are these customers who have very low margin that are giving you the most trouble?
Yeah, okay.
And then I really think about stuff like that. Like if there are people who are not worth it,
So,
they're just not worth it.
so
Not
you
worth
you
the
actually you actually did that. You actually say, you know what? Maybe we should not spend so much time on this.
No, I will we'll let go of clients if I mean, I've never declined a client in that sense, but there are clients who are clearly problematic. Yes, and then as soon as we have a contract, so as soon as the contract ends, then I don't
Right.
I don't push. I don't be like, I don't say, hey, do you want to do this? I don't try to upsell them anything, nothing. It's just not worth the hassle, right? So, yeah, there are definitely
Yeah.
clients like that.
You do the marketing for the company, right? And how much of this, of the day to day goes through you?
What do you mean? No. So we're very specific. So here's so one of the people. Sige na lang, sige here. So the problem with having an advertising agency,
Yeah.
a traditional advertising agency, is that they partner with a company, so they'll have a retainer fee, whatever it is, they have deliverables, whatever it is. But when the company says, "We want you to do this project," and it could be a project that you are not capable of doing. So let's say, like, kami, we're a small outfit, right? Now, like, I know my strengths. My strengths are in writing. I can do photography if I have to, but I hire much better people than me, right? But I know what to look for. Now, but if somebody asked me and said, "Hey, I want you to do a video," we already mentioned I'm not good in video. And then if I'm just a traditional advertising agency that says yes to everything,
Just say yes and hire someone else.
yeah, I'll say yes, I'll hire somebody else. But number one, there's the hassle of doing that. Number two, you don't know if you don't have a ready relationship with somebody who's doing good video work. Sa palay mo gawas? What's gonna come out, right? You don't know ba? So I made it a point that with my services, we're very specific. It's literally come up with a photo for social media and copy for social media. That's it. If they want something
More flashy.
yeah, if they want like a flashy
30-second
video
ad.
or an ad, I'll take video. I'll take video with my phone. Like it's not gonna be something very produced. Now, if somebody wants it very produced, there are so many other people, especially here in Cebu, who can do a much better job. So I'm very clear with what we offer clients, no? So there. I mean, I thought about putting up an advertising agency, but then it's full of headaches. But as you guys know, advertising can be so many things. It's branding, it's execution. In fact, I talked to Jude in one of my podcasts. Jude Crisostomo. He runs
White Brick.
Yeah, he runs it's not an ad agency. It's a design studio.
Yeah.
And then they're very specific as to what kind of work they do. Now, they do a much broader work than I do, but they're very specific. They don't do any execution.
Yeah, I think they do content.
They'll do content, and then they give it to the client.
Someone else will post.
Sila na bahala. Yeah, they don't worry about that at all whatsoever. And then that was through his experience in an ad agency. That was his experience in an ad agency that would say yes to everything.
All right, so I think we reached the part of our. I think this is a very nice interview. For me, I learned about pivot. How do you pronounce it? Pivot. And also about just enjoying the process, and also you were able to just. I don't know. You worry less, I guess, about. I don't know where the worry less comes from, but you just go through it, solve the problem as it is, and just learn from it and move on. I think that's a very important skill that anyone who's into business, because business could kill you, self-employment could kill you. Like if you're doing everything and you're a yes person. It would kill you, and I would agree with being specific, because I do a podcast editing, as you've known, for external client outside the country. So I'm very specific with that as well. I don't do helping them find their guests on the show. I don't do that. I don't do the booking. I just focus on editing, quality, and that's it. And maybe I upsell the show notes, but if it requires like a blog kind of show notes, I decline that, because I'm very specific of what I'm offering. So, and I think there's power in it that makes you filter out the 80% that stress you out and focus on the 20%. So and that's my learning from this show.
But in my case, I like the fact that we talk about like being a practitioner. I took when Dave showed me that you'll be a guest. I normally, and this is for like all the guests, I actually do research on how you do your social media, how do you put your content out there. So I guess from what I saw, it was kind of unique, and it's a good thing that you explained to me like, hey, we're just like showing you guys how we put ourselves out there, but this is the real service. This is our positioning in the marketplace. So it's really interesting for me to hear that.
Right. And we now move on to our
lightning round.
We don't have the sound effects as well. So let's start with the first question.
Yeah. So what's your typical morning routine?
Okay. Sige.
What's your morning routine?
My morning routine has changed quite a bit because I have 2 kids. Like this morning, he woke up at 5. I didn't want to wake up yet. But so assuming everything goes well, assuming like I get to sleep early and the kids don't wake up at night, I try to wake up at 6. And then that's because I wake up at 6 because that used to be when everybody was asleep. Now it seems like my kids and my wife are starting to get up earlier. But I would wake up at 6. And then back then when I used to do a lot of writing, that's when I would write. I try to get 500 words in. Bahala na, if it's good, bad, whatever it is. Yeah, and then and so now that we're doing the podcast, that's actually when I do the podcast editing. That's when I record an intro and outro, and then I'll research guests, and then so that's the morning, and then at 8:30, that's when most people get up already, or 8 o'clock, and then I'll cook breakfast for everybody. And then hopefully we're done around 9:30 or 10. Huh?
After your wife goes to breakfast.
No. Like I actually found I enjoy. I mean, I only started like last year, but it's fun. It's fun. It's fun. And like I talked to one of the people I talked to in the podcast is Chip Lopez, and then one of her tips is if you want to like eat better, cook your own food because you'll see what you put in there. I mean, just the act of cooking your own food, you're gonna eat better. You know? But the reason we did that is, we live in the Philippines where you can get help and everything, and then but now, people complain about this all the time. It's so hard to get help now, etc., etc. And I got so fed up with the process that I just told Steph, what if we just do this ourselves? And yeah, it's been working pretty good. So then hopefully we're done about 10. Then I go to the office. My office is quite near where I live. I'll talk to my assistant, we'll do whatever she needs to do. And then in the afternoon, that's when I do either like meetings or work that you don't need to use your brain. Yeah. And that's a typical day. And I end at 4 or 5 and go back home, cook dinner. Yeah, but the most important thing for me is in the morning. So I try to make sure that I do the most important thing in the morning. And then I only batch email maybe once or twice a day, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm. And the next question is, who or what inspires you? Is that right? Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. Who or what inspires me? I don't know. I have not thought about that. Like, what? In what sense? Like motivates me to work?
Anything?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, like they're really nice people. This No. I mean, like obviously, no. But I don't know if they. I find I don't feel like I look for inspiration all that much. Like where you get like that feeling where you're like you get goosebumps, that sort of thing. I used to get that when I would watch a gig, and then I watch like a really good musician or band on stage, and they do really well, and that was really inspiring. Because as soon as I'd get home, I'd want to just play the guitar. That's the closest thing I can think of in terms of inspiration. Like I don't know. I'm not good with inspiration, I think.
This is not part of the lightning round, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Like a couple of books you'd recommend to other entrepreneurs.
Oh,
like you.
books. Okay, books. Of course, Tim Ferriss's book, 4-Hour Work Week. That opened my mind as to what you can do with a business and with your lifestyle in general. In fact, like there's an article out there. I think it's an article promoting a book. But it's called it's a Tim Ferriss. It's in his blog. It's called the $1 million. What's it? $1 million business or something, which is kind of what I'm trying to go for with Zerothreetwo. You have a very small team, but you have good big revenue. So Tim Ferriss's book for sure. I like Seth Godin's Purple Cow.
Yeah,
I love Seth Godin. I don't know. I can't think of any. Oh well, okay. The Profit First. If you're a small business owner, I can't remember the name of the author, but that's what we do in Zerothreetwo.
All of those will be linked to our.
Sorry, and they have shown us. And well, I have a blog post called "These." I forgot the exact name, but these books taught me how to run a business. I think there's like 10 or 11 books.
We'll definitely link that.
I'll remind me. I'll send you the link.
All right,
so you can put in your show notes also.
thebigpicture.ph/episode 22 because we just did 21.
Okay.
All right. So the next question. So I'll ask it.
Yeah, please.
You forgot it. So do you consider yourself successful?
Oh, define successful. What is successful? Is that like just?
It's up to you.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. If you're just happy, yes. I'm fine. I'm just happy, and I had this conversation with my friends a few days ago, and then I told them that I worry a little bit because sometimes when I get myself comfortable, am I too comfortable? Is it if I'm just happy with what I'm doing, if I'm content with what I'm doing, should I be doing more? You know, I think like you even touched on that on the hustle, on your hustle question. So I struggle with that a little bit. In the end, we had this conversation, and it just said, if you're content with what you're doing and you're happy, that's successful. That's what.
Right. So basically, like looking at like which the measurement of like, am I doing too much or too less?
Yeah, like where am I? And then like, yeah, and then because there's that you can always do more, right? But at what point does that affect the rest of your life?
Right.
Are you having like is that balance gone? Right. So I don't know. But if success is, if you're content, happy with what you're doing, sure. Yes.
Right. So my question, we have a lot of, the big picture of Philippines is basically focused on helping our fellow Filipinos, right? Our kababayan who are working probably abroad or stuck with a job that they don't like, for 9 to 5 job. So what do you think is, since you're here, you're doing what you love and earning from it, what do you think is your best tip or advice to them so that, they might be able to follow your path, perhaps?
I don't think they should follow my path. No, there's this, there's another Gary Vaynerchuk thing where he says like not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur. Like you can be a really good number 2. That's his words, Like, so there are just some people who are better off because being an entrepreneur is hard. Super hard.
First answer we got. That's good.
It's super hard. Forget it.
Yeah.
Diba? Like it's really difficult. I mean, you guys know. And then you sacrifice so many things before you can actually feel like Zerothreetwo. I don't know, for the first 4 years, I wasn't giving myself a salary, Yeah. And then I realized that was a mistake. I should be giving myself a salary.
First.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that, but because it's not. I feel like that the complaint when you have a 9 to 5 job is like, okay, I'm doing my 9 to 5. I just don't really care what I'm doing, and I don't care. I just do this work, and then I get paid at the end of the month. And then after at 5 o'clock, I'll go home, and then I'll turn on TV, and I'm done. No, man. Like if you're an entrepreneur, like if you're you gotta continue to learn. You always need to do something. Like there's always something that comes up. You can lose a client. You can or you can have an employee that will have this I don't know. I'm making up a problem, honestly. But like you can have an employee that can have like a problem with their life or whatever, and then their problems become your problems. And then you have to keep learning, and then there's the uncertainty. If you're not comfortable with uncertainty. If you're not comfortable with uncertainty, then you probably shouldn't be an entrepreneur. But maybe you can be a really good number 2. Maybe you can be a really good person in your job. And then I think that just goes back to self-awareness. Like, do you know what you want to do? Right? And are you willing to sacrifice it all?
Awesome.
Really good answer.
Right. So our last question is the most difficult question also.
Oh, I know this now. I've listened to your podcast before.
Where can people find you?
Well, Zerothreetwo.com. 032 in letters, so ZeroThreetwo.com. And then my personal stuff is, you can just go to Twitter or Instagram, /Sober Musings. Yes. Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Sober Musings?
Yeah.
SOBRMUSINGS.
Yes. All right.
We'll link all of those in our show notes. Once again, that's a big picture.ph.
And 032 Conversations.
Oh yeah, 032 Conversations. Yes, so
after you listen to the big picture.
So yeah, if you want more about stories, behind the scenes, so I think the 032 Conversations is really cool. Meet the influencers in Cebu.
Awesome. Yeah.
So I think that's a wrap.
Yeah, it's a wrap. All right.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys for
Good.
listening, and catch you next time on our next episode. So bye bye.
Bye bye.